Today's video is a very cool one because it's sponsored by some companies that are the industry standard and people that I'm lucky enough to call friends at this point. 1, Wheel Pros, 2, Falken Tire, and 3, my homie Mops over at Nemesis Autosport. Let's put some 21s back on the SQ5 and give it the wheels that it deserves.
If you remember, we installed these for the winter. These are OEM RS5 wheels. They're 20x9 ET25 with a 265/45 winter tire on it. These have been great all winter. We actually haven't really even driven it in the snow, but it was nice to feel prepared for the few snowstorms that we had. And these wheels look great, but they're 20s, and I really think this car needs a 21 to look good. I've always felt that the 20 just looks a little bit too small. My concern with the 21s is I think we're gonna have to lower it more, and that means buying a seat module, but all of that with time. Let's get these wheels off and get the new wheels on. It's raining outside. Somehow I got those shots in before it started raining. And I have the Fitment boss with me.
Well, I'm not the boss, you're the boss.
No, you're the boss. Look at the Fitment he has going on here. Dude, that's hella flush.
Inverted.
Ain't nothing there.
Let's talk about the spec of the wheels because all the comments are going to be, what are the specs? I'm going to get messages 3 years from now with people messaging me, what are the specs for the wheels? Just so you know, if you ever go back to an old video, every video that I post has the modifications and like the wheel fitment, the tire size, all that stuff in the description of the car at that exact moment. And I keep that updated in my description. So if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the description, you'll get all the info. If you go back to an S6 video, an S4 video, an SQ5 video, they all have it. But anyway, I'm gonna run through it with you guys, but just so you know for the future. These are the Rotiform TUF. These are Roti spec wheels, meaning they are forged, but there are only limited options for the fitment. These ones are 21x9.5. And they are a +30 offset. Now I gotta give a shout out to the homie Mops because he was the first one to do it. He did them on his blue SQ5 and I copied him. But he copied my BC Forged RZ39, so we're even. Anyway, he said run a 5mm spacer in the front and a 10 in the back. And if you look at that, that's a 5mm spacer in the front. And that's a 10mm spacer in the rear. Don't mind powing back there. That's a 10mm spacer in the rear, and that is, I mean, borderline perfect fitment. My homie Mops at Nemesis Autosport saved the day again. This is a billet wheel spacer, and if you'll notice, it has 3 prongs on it instead of being a perfectly round spacer. That's because when you make a 10mm spacer, a lot of the times it either doesn't fit over the hub or it doesn't fit inside of the wheel because of the design that you need to do to maintain the structural rigidity of it. So this spacer only fits one way, doesn't fit there, but if you rotate it one, it fits right on there, and that's because this little stud sticks between the hub there, and that allows you to run a 10mm spacer in the rear that fits inside of your aftermarket wheels. This is a 265 Falken tire FK
460 all season.
I recently posted a review of this tire on the channel, an entire review. I have deemed this the best all-season tire that I've ever ridden on. I'm very impressed with this. I have them on the B5. I've had them on the B5 for a hot second, and so I said, hey, Falken, let's work together again, and we'll get a set of the FK460 all-season on the SQ5. Something to note, at the time of me posting this, a set of 4 tires for this in 21-inch. Pound, how much do you think
A set of 4 tires in 21 inches costs in a 265/40 for an SQ5?
Well, it doesn't sound like it's common. So a set of 4?
A set of 4, how much do you think it costs?
I don't know, like $1,200?
$1,200. This set, $220 a tire right now. So $880 for a set of 4. It may go up. I don't hold me to that price. That was the price when I posted this on Tire Rack. But, dude, honestly, I'm super impressed with these tires. And I mean, you and I are both on the same boat. I thought they'd be like $1,200. That's what I paid for my last set.
great price, great tire? You can't complain about that one.
One thing to note in the rear here on this 10 mil spacer, I ordered spacers from 42 Draft Designs. They're usually my go-to for spacers. Unfortunately, the way that their spacer is kind of lipped, it did not work with the fronts or the rears, and apparently that's a very common thing for 10mm spacers in the rear. So I got the world's bougiest spacers from Mops.
Those spacers are not cheap. If you'd like a set, you can hit Mops up. That's the only 10mm spacer that seems to work with these cars. And if you want ones in the front, I have lipless ones from a company that's a competitor to FCP Euro that I'm not going to mention.
Now, as far as the ride height goes, I mentioned that with 21s, I think we might need to lower it a little bit.
Kind of okay with it, but in the glamour shots when I was shooting them earlier, it did look like a little bit too high.
We do have,
Oh, I forgot about this. We have
air suspension like trunk loading mode. Okay, so it's going to air the rear out even more. I have driven it like this. I unloaded mulch from the back, and it rubs. So we can't roll around like this. That's too low, see? I think that's too low. That's not right. It has to be somewhere between, like, that ride height, which is like tuck-in tire, and the front where it's a little bit higher.
Well, let's go back up so it doesn't rub.
Like right about there, I think would be ideal. It's just like another inch lower and it would be good.
Unfortunately, to get an inch lower on this car, you need to buy a seat module, which is about $1,300. Right now, I'm on lowering links from the homie Tyler at TJK Motorsport, and because my car has adaptive cruise, if I set it any lower, it'll throw headlight codes. So this is the ride height that we're at. I think I'm just gonna roll with it. I don't think it's worth spending $1,300 to get a little bit lower. I will live with not having the perfect ride height and the perfect fitment, but
At least the fitment is really good. I'm really happy with them.
wheels themselves, if you guys know me, I usually do a more concave style wheel. This is my first like flatter face, and I say flatter face, there's still definitely some concavity to it. This is my first flatter face wheel. I'm kind of digging it.
You know, all the wheels that I've run in the past have all been like 5-spoke or like double 5-spoke wheels. I don't really vary my wheel style
That much, other than the BC Forged RZ39s that I ran in the old SQ5. I kind of digging the switch up here. They do look big. This style of wheel does look big. Like this looks bigger than a 21 if you ask me.
265 fits a 9.5, I mean, perfectly. There's a slight rollover of the tire at the top. I maybe could have gone for a 275, but I would have had to start getting weird with the sidewall ratios and stuff like that. So I ran a 265/45 for the winter. I figured a 265/40 for the summer. Just obviously up 1 inch in size.
For a set of wheels that's a completely different style than what I normally run, I'm really happy with them. And I'm really happy with how the car looks. It looks very different. I think it almost looks like a Macan. I get Macan vibes, mostly because of the like the center lock style design thing. I get like Porsche vibes from it, which I don't know if I like because I'm not a big Porsche guy. I'm not supposed to say that because the VW Audi guys get mad at me when I say I'm not a Porsche guy. I'm not a big Porsche guy, but I get like Macan vibes from it. Anyway, big shout out to the homies at Wheel Pros, the homies over at Falken Tire for hooking us up with another set of the FK460, and the homie Mops for always being my fitment advice the guy that I bounce ideas off of. Mops and I went back and forth with a ton of wheel companies too, so I gotta give him a shout out. If you're looking for wheels or fitment advice or anything else like that, it's mops@nemesisautosport.com. Shoot him an email, tell him Eli sent you, and he will take care of you. And he's got the plug on the special spacers. Next videos you can expect on the SQ5. We're going to the drag strip next week. I gotta clean up the interior of this car. You can see it's a disaster in there. And I gotta clean up the interior of the B5. And then, Powen, we have some tips to weld on this car.
Ooh, it's gonna be fun.
I gotta order the tips. I gotta figure out what to order. If you've done tips on your SQ5, let me know what to order, because I don't have any idea. I'm probably just gonna go on Amazon and buy some cheap ones and see how they look, and then maybe we'll upgrade them down the road. I don't know, but I have a painted lower valence. My buddy Mike at Mike's Auto Body painted that. That's an MTM USA valence, and Pound and I will just chop the tips. I believe we'll chop them right there, and it'll run right out through an opening and sit right there. I'm excited on how that's going to look. We also went back to the stock exhaust. I have my AWE exhaust up for sale if anyone's interested. What is leaking back here? Is it leaking or is it just, I don't know. Anyway, now that I've rambled for 25 minutes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm really excited about the wheels. I hope you like them as well. Make sure to head over to Instagram. I posted some reels of the wheels. Check those out. Give them a like. I've been trying to up my reel game recently. My man Powen went freaking viral on the internet for Acuity. Thank you guys so much for watching. Big shout out to Wheel Pros, Falken, Nemesis Autosport. I've said it 3 times in this video, so if you don't know who sponsored this video, now you do. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go out there and spread some positivity, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.